The DMCA is not a private YouTube contract that you sign. Let me repeat that. The DMCA is not a private contract that you agree to when you join a service like YouTube or Odyssey. The DMCA is a law that was passed in 1998 by Bill Clinton, okay? It is a gun in the room, so to speak. So the reason why I have to bring this up is because there has been a lot of talk lately about the DMCA regarding two libertarian content creators who claim that they are against intellectual property, and I have no reason to doubt that. However, I do think that their understanding of intellectual IP law, intellectual property law, and intellectual monopoly law, they have a very fundamental misunderstanding of what that is, how it works, and they just think that it's just kind of like a private contract, a little nudge, as Patrick from Dissenthal say, to point YouTube in the right direction to enforce its own policy guidelines. That is not correct, and this is actually. I want to speak a little bit more broadly because there are people who are not libertarians who are in favor of intellectual property, quote unquote, protections, who also believe this and will complain about the DMCA process with YouTube as if it's something that they can control, where these same problems crop up on every social media, every kind of video sharing site on the internet. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Odyssey, Rumble, they all have to follow these same procedures. And that's why they have the exact same procedure no matter what. So when people talk about the DMCA, right, this is not like something that YouTube made up. This is what we're looking at right here, copyright.gov. This is the U.S. Copyright Office, and they're talking about the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. It is a law that was passed by Congress in 1998 and was signed into law by Bill Clinton. And in it has three titles, right? The first one kind of relates to how intellectual property has to be kind of conformed to current treaties at the time, and and basically setting law about anti-circumcision. Not that kind of circumcision, but circumventing intellectual property laws, right? So, for you to kind of get around, certain types of encryption, or to allow for pirated content, or to allow it to play, content that is not protected. These are the kind of laws that are supposed to stop that. The third one, again, is sort of the same thing, if I remember correctly. I don't quote me on that. But Title II is what we're talking about. This is what most people refer to as the DMCA. 99% of the time when you hear people talk about the DMCA, they're talking about Title II. That's the important thing here. Title II of the DMCA, which is known as the Safe Harbor Provision, basically sets rules for internet service providers or content hosting, is that what we call it now, not just your cable provider or cable internet provider, but people who host content online, which allow users to upload content onto their service. So any kind of forum that will allow people to post text on their site. Remember, text can also be copyrighted as well. Anyone who could post images on there, because artwork and stuff can also be copyrighted as well, and video, and that sort of thing. Any kind of media, right? Audio. So if you host any kind of content and you allow people to upload stuff to your service, it's not very financially reasonable for you to run a business that allows that as a business model because the risks are so great. However, there were two pieces of legislation that happened in the late 90s when the internet started to boom that allowed the internet to thrive. One of which was Section 230, which I should do a separate video on that later, which kind of prevents illegal content in general. And then you have the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, which allowed for safe harbor provisions when it comes to copyright law, right? So what this does is it says, look, if you're an internet service provider and you allow people to post stuff onto your site, you are not liable for infringements of copyright that your users commit, so long as you follow the DMCA guidelines exactly. So anytime anyone files a DMCA takedown notice, by law, you have to remove that content. Now, there has been some cases that have that has happened since, which allows YouTube to actually kind of moderate now DMCA requests. So that's why you're seeing a lot of times where people will file a false DMCA. And then they will get contacted saying, hey, someone tried to file a DMCA against you, but we've taken it down. But at the time this was written, and up to like about 10 years ago, this was not the case. YouTube, if they got a DMCA takedown notice or request, they have to follow it. They have to take it down. If they don't, they can actually have their safe harbor provision revoked, which would mean that anytime anyone uploads copyrighted content and someone complains about it, they also can be kind of found as like a co-conspirator, so to speak, in these lawsuits, and also be subject to fines and jail time and that sort of thing that you would expect. All right, and so this is the section 530. If you want a full breakdown of what this is, you can go to here, which is copyright.gov/DMCA, and this will take you to the this is why it's also first. Title 2 is first, section 512. And it will break it down for you and show you where you can actually see more information about this. But this is the general kind of rule of it, okay? So this is not, by any means, a YouTube private policy. Now, the argument has been made by people. So this is where you can cut off the video if you're just talking to a regular everyday person who thinks the DMCA is YouTube's policy, and it's not. You can go away now. Now I'm going to talk specifically to the kind of libertarian or people who are anti-intellectual property types who are still contending a lot of this stuff. So the other big objection that comes to this is, well, in absence of this law, there would still be like some sort of intellectual property kind of protection against this. Now, not to get into specifics, but the kind of idea is like if I upload something to I don't know, Daily Motion or fucking Odyssey, and I post it on YouTube, that's not an issue, because once that information's out there, if you're able to get it, you can put it anywhere you want. That's fine. The issue is someone posts something on YouTube and then reposts it on YouTube. Well, YouTube would have provisions against that. Now, that's not to say that a policy like that wouldn't, be beneficial or harmful to YouTube. That's not a big discussion here, and it doesn't matter. You're basically using a what-if machine in your own head and then saying, well, according to the what-if machine in my head, that's what actually would happen. So therefore, I can presume that YouTube would do this in this fictionalized world that that's in my head, and so therefore, I'm allowed to use the guns of violence. No, this is the guns of violence, right? Because at the end of the day, if YouTube does not, if they lose their safe harbor provisions, and they're basically liable for any copyright complaints, past and present, not just then, but past or present. But even if it is just for the future on, like there are thousands of YouTube videos that are being uploaded to YouTube at any given moment. It is astronomical, the amount of content that is uploaded to YouTube every minute, let alone every day. And a lot of those things are going to be in violation of a copyright law, because we see it all the time. We see people re-uploading movies to YouTube all the time. Not just movies, but copyrighted music and all that stuff. They would be liable for each one of those things that people complain about. This would bankrupt a company even as big as Google. When you're talking about each infringement, upwards of, hundreds of thousands of dollars per complaint, you can, in theory, take down an entire company like Google in just a heartbeat. What they would do is if they lost safe harbor provisions, they would just shut down YouTube. And that would not be on the back. But let me show you this. So this is not something that, and this is one of my videos, so don't think that I'm going through the process of DMCAing someone else's video. I'm not even going to finish the DMCA process, but I'm going to give you a little bit of an idea to show you that this is not some nice thing that you're asking YouTube to check out. This is something legal, right? This is using the guns of the government in order to achieve something. And that is yeah. So let's just get into it. You get the idea. So let's say that this is the video, right? And I'm mad at Jim Jesus, right? Because he's a jerk. He said something bad about someone that he said something bad about, fucking Monero or whatever, and I don't like him. So I'm gonna file a DMCA against him, right? So I'm gonna go to report. Let's just sign in real quick. All right, sorry about that. Let's try this again. So let's say that I want to report my own video. The Jim Jesus is evil, and I'm going to use the DMCA to get back at him, or he used a portion of my clip, or whatever your argument, or this is a re-upload of my video, whatever. I want to do something. Well, I'm going to report the video. How am I going to report it? Like, this is YouTube's own private service, right? If I want to report a video that has sexual content or violent or repulsive content, hateful or abusive content, harassment or bullying, harmful or dangerous acts, misinformation, which that was a whole thing during 2020, child abuse, promotes terrorism, spam misleading, legal issue, or captions issue. Well, hold on. Where's copyright? If this is not a legal issue, right? If we're not talking about the law, we're just talking about YouTube wanting creators to, protect creators within their own ecosystem. If they wanted to create like this walled garden of content where no one can re-upload other people's stuff, where is the option for they're reusing my stuff? I'll tell you where it is. If you're looking for it, it's under legal issue. And you can actually see once you kind of hover over this, it says copyright, privacy, or other legal complaint. Now let's go to copyright issue. We're going to go to next. Now we're brought to another page, right? This takes you completely away from YouTube's flagging system altogether. You are no longer in YouTube's flagging system. This is not their private thing anymore. Now they're wanting you to currently read a screed about how this is a legal document that you are signing under penalty of perjury. So do not make false claims. Misuse of the removal web form may result in suspension of your account or other legal consequences. They're not joking about this. This is not a joke, right? They're telling you you're going to file a complaint with your local courthouse, right? So let's go to submit copyright removal, right? Let's add a video. So now we're taken to a completely another page. This is no longer YouTube's flagging thing. So we're going to go right up to the point where I'm actually complaining about it. I'm not going to actually file this. Let's see, paste. This is my video, right? Internet video. Source of my content from my YouTube channel. I'm just going to paste this here too. Whatever, you get the idea. Entire video, right? Affected party, myself. You're going to put the copyright and owner name in. They want your name, phone number, your relationship to the content, your legal. This is important because they're asking you to use your actual name or your actual business and your actual location, your legal address, where this all is, right? And you want you can send like a threat. You can pick what kind of threat you want, and you can also prevent other people from uploading this stuff. All right, and again, you are signing this under whatever, and now you have three options, or you have three things that you have to check before it, and you have to sign it. This is actually a legally binding affidavit that you're signing under penalty of perjury, right? I have good faith have a good faith belief that the use of material in the manner complained is not authorized by the copyright owner, its agent, or the law. The information in this notification is accurate under penalty of perjury. I am the owner or agent authorized to act on the behalf of the owner or of an exclusive right that is allegedly infringed. I understand that the abuse of this tool, such as submitting removal requests for content that I do not, may result in the termination of my YouTube account. So they're really wanting you to understand that this is not some fucking bullshit thing that they've made up, right? Like their misinformation flagging system. This is a legal document. This is a legal affidavit that you are signing. Do not let anybody tell you otherwise. What you are doing is you are threatening two parties every time you file this thing, right? And if you're a firm believer that the non-aggression principle is an axiomatic truth, that you ought not ever break these rules, it is a violation of your ethics to file one of these things, because you are using government guns to enforce something that whatever. I'm not going to get into the whole argument against intellectual property, but you still are using aggression against not just the person who is uploading the content. You're basically sending them a legal threat if they continue to do this, that you could sue them, right? And this is also in there too, that you're going to be facing potential lawsuits when you file one of these things. You are also threatening YouTube's safe harbor provision and putting them at jeopardy of all sorts of fines and legal damages that they're going to have to fight for their entire existence once they lose their safe harbor provision. And we've talked about the copyright penalties and the amounts and potential jail time that can come with that for every case of infringement that gets uploaded onto their service, which they have no control over unless they manually approve everything that comes across it, right? This is not a game. This is not a joke. This is not something, whatever you can just use whenever you feel like, you're mad at someone. Like, you can't really, false flagging is not like any kind of a violation of the non-aggression principle. But following one of these things, regardless if you think that intellectual property is legitimate or not, is still a violation of those ethics, right? Hope that helps, right? And even if you had some sort of like let's say that the person that you're filing a DMCA against, right? They're actually an aggressor in some fashion, right? Like, let's say that the person that you're filing a DMCA against, actually came and broke into your house and stole content, right? At the end of the day, you're also filing against YouTube, which is an innocent third party in all of this. So again, I have to reiterate, this is not some fictional bullshit, right? So anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. I think I kind of made my point here. It's pretty clear. I'm going to close this just to show you that I'm not filing a DMCA against anyone, including myself. This is a law. This is not a private YouTube contract, whatever, right? So I'm just gonna wrap it up by saying, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I'm sorry that I'm not posting, my face on here. I'm actually in the middle of moving. That's why I haven't seen so much content from me lately. And most of my stuff is packed, including my webcams. So until I make the move, which I should be like about the end of September, I should be back in the saddle making content again. Here's a video, by the way, of another person who is talking about the DMCA and why it's actually good in libertarian, in the kind of libertarian mindset. And go ahead and subscribe to this channel if you're not already subscribed and you want more content like this, only with my face. Until next time, worms.